God's regrets. Little minds like cigarettes. Dance and pray for lasting fame. Hope tonight's not.
Dude, by the way, I got to tell you, first of all, can you hear me well? Because I'm using a different camera and a different microphone.
Yeah, everything's perfect. Everything's perfect.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I've been watching like a few other podcasts you've done.
Mhm.
I'm telling you, man, there's some really choice, great stuff in there. I mean, both from you and from the people you talk to.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some really interesting cats out there. It's just amazing. Maybe because I'm so isolated as it
Right.
is, I just don't get to talk to as many musicians, or at least the creative
It's
ones.
tough. It's tough out there trying to, and that's why I kind of did the podcast is because I can actually sit and go, all right, let's have some like-minded conversation.
I mean, really, I thought there was some truly enlightening stuff. There was the one dude, what's the one? Older guy, probably my age, maybe a little bit younger, broken something. It's one of the recent ones.
Let me
Uh,
pull it up real quick. I should. You would think I'd have these like memorized, but I'm like,
there's a gazillion of them. I mean, I
I
just
know.
didn't realize how many you did.
Yeah,
But
I'm up to geez, 77. So
geez,
I know, and I try to just keep cranking them out. Like, let me see. Um, the crooked stuff.
yeah, that's the dude.
Yeah, that's a good guy. So
Good guy, smart dude.
yeah, he's very smart, and it's like he was like it was one of those kind of last minute where I was like, I like your stuff, and he's like, well, I got this sort of like small time frame to kind of squeeze you in, and I was like, let's make this work. So
Excuse me.
no, you're good.
Well, I mean, again, just great stuff, just great insights.
Thank you.
And I gotta tell you, man, what really blew me away, I mean, over and over. I mean, I'm watching these people who are, I mean, some I can like see that we're somehow similar, others who are completely different, and yet we're going through like the same exact experience, which is really kind of odd. I mean, not
No, it's
you know what I mean, just the same
yeah.
struggles, the same ideas, the same concepts. I mean, people who just we want to write music, but we don't want to go on social media too much. I mean, I keep hearing the same things. I'm like, man, well, I guess we're all really kind of like, reading the same book. It's really interesting.
It's one thing I've noticed. We'll kind of I'm kind of let's go ahead and flow with this kind of conversation because it really I want people to know that we really are kind of going through the struggle and it's I've noticed that with the sort of older generation and the younger generation, we're all kind of struggling with where do we find our place in social media without making it seem artificial in a way where it's like we're putting on an act, not our usual music act that we're used to, but going having to put ourselves out there on social media, not just that, but be like dun 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 dun, dun like we're doing this whole like circus song and dance and try and sell ourselves, and it's like and you're going, look, I got this music, how can I kind of bring you in without being like cheesy about it?
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
tough.
It is tough, and especially because I mean, again, if you're from an older generation and you're just used to like a certain type of approach to music and how you stumble on it, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Like you said, I mean, going there and just like, hey, look at me, look at me. I mean, it can be really jarring I mean, if you're kind of like an introvert and you're not really
Yeah.
into it, that look at me type of experience. I mean, it becomes really tough. And then you look around and you see people like maybe your age doing some things that, I mean, I don't want to judge, but to me, I
No.
would be like, God, that is so cringy. Jesus Christ.
Oh,
You know,
100%.
can't believe the dude's doing that. He's like in his 50s. What the fuck, man? He's like, just pump with brakes. But
Right.
then again, who am I to say anything? But it's just a weird period, man. It's just
It is.
odd. And what's odd is just, like I told you last time. I mean, I have a marketing background. That's all I worked in my whole life,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I always just kept the music separated because I just because it just didn't really make any sense to have them
Sure,
come together.
sure.
But now I'm just seeing just the marketing aspect of the music just being so exasperated.
Yeah, 100%. It's got
It's all,
it seems like marketing has to be almost above the art in a sense, right? Am I crazy to think that?
I mean, right now, I mean that's what it is, and I think it's also because I think what really fucks us up. I mean, us older generation, and
Yeah,
you're probably in the middle because you
I'm
seem
definitely
like
in the middle for sure. Yeah.
yeah, you're in the middle. Is probably because we approach music as something that you fall in love with
Mhm.
and you hang on to for like a long, long time. I mean, my generation, we used to actually buy stuff, CDs, LPs, cassettes, whatever. So there was an approach to like owning, is like it's mine. And because you had to pay real money for it, you just didn't go and buy the first thing. I mean, unless you were really wealthy, but I wasn't.
Sure.
So I mean, I had to like really pick and choose and save my money and go, okay, well, I'm just gonna go with that album because that just seems really promising.
Of course.
Um, and so having now there's this new paradigm shift in which I think people are consuming music kind of like how you consume like soft drinks. It's just like, okay, now it's gone. I'm just gonna have it on my phone for a little while until I can't find it anymore, or it's on Spotify somewhere lost.
Yeah.
So it's a whole different approach. And I'm not saying it's wrong, it's just different.
I just
So I
very.
think for us, it's just really tough to just become, I mean, to try and market yourself as a flavor of the minute,
Yo, yeah.
because it seems just wrong.
It's it's
Um,
it's tough because I see the older generation and I'm kind of like again, I'm in the middle where I grew up, cassettes and CDs were the big. Vinyl was still there, but it was kind of in the decline. And then there was the Napster thing and people were going,
yeah.
"Okay, how are we supposed to make money?" Then came ringtones.
Oh, yeah.
And then that's how people were kind of like generating the buzz, but also still getting a little bit of money. And then that was kind of where Apple Music came in. But I think we've kind of reached somewhere in that moment where if you can't catch someone's attention, especially on TikTok, where it's like now you have to attach a song to a video to almost get people's attention, where it constantly plays over and over again as you're kind of scrolling through your phone, and it's become the new ringtone in a way because it captures your attention, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a weird time. We're in a
Let's see
weird
where
time. We're in a weird
we'll,
time.
we'll
So,
see where it goes. I mean, yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it is a weird time. Did you happen? I don't want to keep you. I'm
No,
sorry.
you're
I'm
fine.
just
Go ahead. Flow.
we'll get on your thing. But I don't know if you caught it. There was like a show in China. I don't know if it was yesterday, the day before,
Uh-huh.
of these robots. And these robots, remember like how like a month ago, the robots were like, they were like falling and they were just like fucking stupid. And this was like a month ago. And so yesterday, here's like there's like 10 robots and they're doing fucking kung fu. I mean, they're doing backflips,
Yeah.
spinning. They're jumping over shit. I mean, they're moving like a human being.
Jeez.
And they're like see-through, so it's not like there's some guy in the outfit, faking it. It's like there's 10 plastic dolls, and they made them little, maybe because they don't want to freak people out.
To
They made them
intimidate
little,
anybody.
yeah. And they're dancing. They're not really doing dancing. They're doing like a kung fu karate exhibition thing.
Yeah.
Um, with kids, there's really, kick-ass Chinese kids. I mean, they're just like amazing, right?
Right.
It's like
Of course.
Bruce Lee's
Yeah, they're
kid.
amazing at everything they do. Yeah.
Yeah, everything they do is they got a rule. But anyways, so these kids are just kicking major ass, and these robots are. I mean, I'm telling you, you have to see it because you're not going to believe it until you actually see it. Because I mean, I can describe it. I can just tell you, look, man, they're moving just like the kids. There's like no difference. But you're going to be thinking about the one that
Yeah.
that, that fell.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah.
That's
Remember the
wild.
Russian one from like a month ago, the big Russian robot. They're like this Russian robot, and the thing comes out, takes like 3 steps, and boom, just eats it right away.
Oh man, I went through a lot of
Yeah.
those where it was I think it was called Boston Dynamics, where it was kind of like they started off with these sort of dog-like robots and then it started progressing into like sort of like human type robots and now it's like have we not learned? Have we not learned
Yeah.
from science fiction? Like
I'm
we're
telling you, man,
getting there.
this thing is just, I mean, I was watching it going, okay, I can't believe it. I mean, this is going, I mean, this is going so fast. If the stupid robots for like 5 years ago, I could accept it, but the stupid robots for like were like in December,
I
2 months
know.
ago.
Yeah.
That's they were showing us this really stupid things, and now it's like, and now it's this. So, and what's funny is that I'm thinking, they're just making them human shaped so that we can somehow relate.
Yeah.
But they don't have to be like, I mean, they can be like an octopus, they can be whatever, like, for war,
Yeah.
for war use. So we're gonna see some craziest.
Oh, I'm already seeing a lot of it where they'll have robotic companions. I mean, you're already seeing it. Like you laugh about it and you joke about it, and there's certain movies where they would kind of poke fun at like the guy who has a robotic companion. But you're seeing it now and you're going, "My God, this is real.
Yeah,
More real than ever." And
yeah,
this is our future. Welcome to the
yeah.
future. It's crazy.
It is insane. It
Yeah.
is insane.
All right, let's go and jump into music. Let's stop scaring each other
Yeah.
with this.
So on that note, on that note, just forget about it, man.
Yeah.
Let's do this. Thanks
Everybody,
again.
welcome to welcome to Trailer Punk Podcast. My name is Justin Hamlin. Today, I have the honor of having Love the Ghost, Andrea. Thank you, sir, so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Justin, thank you. It's an honor and it's a pleasure, and I can't wait to hear what questions you've got.
Of course. So I'm gonna go ahead and let everybody know. He has a band camp out. He's got some great music. I discovered Andrea. I was kind of just thumbing through Bandcamp, and I came across "Love the Christmas Ghost," and I really fell in love with that song, and it really hit me on not just sort of like the sort of seasonal level of the Christmas, but it's also very dark and compassionate song. Tell people kind of how you came about creating that song around not just with the sort of dark wave, but Christmas. You know what I mean? A time of could be sense of spirituality or customs or just the fun for the whole family. Tell me about composing that song.
Sure. Well, that was just an instrumental piece that I did a while back, and I just kind of shelved it because honestly, the ideas that I had in my mind, I was not good enough on the keyboards to actually produce it as I wanted to. So it was just this piece of music that was just there, and it was like 90% done. There were some weird bits in there, and that was it. I mean, I kind of forgot about it. There's a lot of music that I forget about.
Yeah.
And then last Christmas, there's this DJ, great guy. He's been pushing my music relentlessly for the past 10 years. He's like, my music's best friend, really.
Sure.
And he was gonna do this live stream of like, goth Christmas songs.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And he goes, do you have anything? And I go, I think I do. I think I've got something. And so I mean, I searched for it. It was in some weird hard drive from way back when. Dug it out, remixed it. I added some new guitars to it just to kind of put a little vibe to it. And the thing is, one, it's gonna be tough to explain. I mean,
Oh, sure.
my music is not as thought out as I would like it to be. It's just very intuitive. I mean, I'll just kind of like add things. And unfortunately, there's a little bit of a sad vein in my personality, maybe just because of some experiences that I've had in my childhood. So there's a little bit of a blue streak in just in my soul. Let's put it that way.
Sure.
So some of the notes that I choose, I realize they're a little bit sad.
Hmm.
But then again, they're sad to me. And there was just I think last week, and I was watching TV with my girlfriend, and it was like a funny video. It was a YouTube funny video, but they put this music on that to me sounded really sad.
Hmm.
And I was like, that's a weird choice of music. That music is really sad. I mean, it's like dogs dancing, but this music is making me cry.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And she goes, "Is it sad? Doesn't sound sad to me." So I was like, okay, I guess yeah, I guess we all have like different internal chords that resonate to certain music. That's the best way I can explain it. So that tune, uh, that did not have a name, I ended up calling it, "Love the Christmas Ghost," just because it needed a name. Once I sent it to my buddy, to my friend, I thought, it's probably worth just putting out there. I think it's decent. There's some cute things to this. It's a little bit sad. I hear it, or at least it sounds sad to me. Maybe because Christmas is not really a happy period for me. That's the way I think of it. I mean, it's very sweet, but it's bittersweet. Um, I spent most of my Christmases away from my family as a kid, so maybe that's why it has a little bit of a tinge of like of sadness. Um, but that's really basically it. I mean, what's funny is that of all the music that I've put online, that's the one that's getting the most, let's say, airplay. Probably because it was Christmas or whatever. But that's basically it. I mean, it's a fun, it's an interesting tune, I think. Yeah.
Have you gotten feedback from people like comment, go, hey, this song means this to me?
Not on that song. No, no, no. You're like the only one so far that's actually like talked to me about it, which is cool. And well, what's neat about this exchange that we're having is that you're telling me stuff that I mean, your reaction to it, the fact that you hear some darkness to it and some sadness, or maybe like a little, and also maybe some joy. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on in there, and I think it's just the choices of notes that kind of make a difference.
Yeah,
That's basically it. Yeah.
yeah, I can see that. And I mean, I kind of do that too, where I, when you're talking about the video, there'll be certain things that I'll watch with my wife, and we'll be sitting here watching a video, and there'll be a song linked with that, and I go, well, that's an interesting choice, and whether it's like, does that work? Does that not work? Did it add to what it's supposed to convey? Yeah, if it's a funny dog video, but then it's just like, soft strings or something in like the minor chords or whatever, you're going, well, okay, interesting take, you know what I mean? Like, but you also have that background in advertisement where you have to kind of get everybody's senses. You have to, not just with like nostalgia, but to stand out and to have music that it it'll convey an emotion, and not just that, but find a way to link yourself with that product. Tell me about that sort of background that you have in advertisement.
Well, like you said, I mean, my real job has always been advertising. I started out as a copywriter, just writing copy and having ideas and coming up with concepts, creative concepts for ads and video, whatever.
Mhm.
And then I kind of evolved and became more of a full picture creative. And then I got involved in marketing too, and that changes the perspective of advertising. But you're exactly right. I mean, when you're trying to convey, I mean, one of the main things with advertising is this. I mean, whereas with music, with the kind of music that I do in my free time, okay, or art or whatever, yeah, usually the concept is you're just trying to, yeah, there's a feeling that you have, and you just kind of you're putting it out there. You're communicating this feeling. And whether someone gets it or not, it's not really that relevant. If someone gets it, then it feels really, really good. If someone doesn't get it, you're like, well, whatever. Well, advertising, there's none of that. I mean, you don't think with your heart so much, you think with your brain almost all the time, because you're trying to convey a very precise message, and everything has to convey or help convey the same message. So the words have to work with the images or graphic or whatever. And if in the case of video, the music that presents this message has to do with thing. So you tend to become very, very utilitarian. The advertising mind is, well, at least what happened to mine is quite interesting. Because whereas with music, I'd like to add and just add like there's a lot of stuff going on in my music. I like to really add a bunch of shit.
Have a package.
Um, advertising is quite the opposite. Anything that gets in the way, you remove it. Okay. So if you've got like a, let's just say I've got a video with a guy with a really great voice and he's talking. So the music is going to have to take like a major step back because if the music gets in the way, then I've got a problem. Same thing with like graphics. If I got a lot of shit happening and the guy is talking and it's like, well, no, it's taking away from the guy. Or vice versa. You're like, well, I've got these great images. The voice is just really pointless. At this point, I'm not gonna have a voiceover. I'm gonna have some great images and some great music to get this feeling across. So, in a nutshell, advertising is very manipulative.
Mhm.
You're really trying to manipulate a feeling,
Yeah.
and um, and I think that's one of the reasons why with my music, and by my music I mean with my free music that I do for myself, because I've done soundtracks and that's a different mindset. But for my music, I've I've kind of turned off my marketing brain because if I were to allow myself to think of my music as I think of a product in my work, then I would have to change everything because in the 60s, in the beginning, advertising was about someone would come up with an idea of a product, they would give you the product, and you would try and sell it to people. Then that kind of evolved into marketing. So now people don't just have ideas anymore. People like will talk to you and say, what do you need? And you'll say, well, I need this and this. Okay, then I'm going to create a product for your need so I can't really miss. All right. So the mindset has shifted. So why am I saying this? Because if I were to project this mindset on my music, then I would go, well, I've got the wrong look, I've got the wrong instrumentation, uh, I've got to find, who's got the money to spend on music. Okay, it's this demographic. What kind of music? It just becomes a real cerebral, manipulative stuff.
Oh yeah.
And so I've got to kind of really close my mind when it comes to that kind of stuff
Right.
with music and just do stuff that I like and go, okay, well, I like this. This is something that I like to be either remembered by or known by. And if someone likes it, great. If nobody likes it, well, as long as I like it, we're okay.
Sure.
Because it would really suck if I didn't like it either, you
Yeah.
know. Uh, so as long as I'm happy with it and I'm like, this is the best that I could do right now, and I think it holds, I think it's worth it. Then I'm satisfied.
That's good. No, I get that. Where you need that sort of balance where, you got your day job
Yeah,
and you go, that's this is this. This music is for me to unwind. Like I'm not here to kind of bridge that whole what I learned here, I'm now going to put towards this. It's going, no, I need to keep these separate because of course I got to do this, but this is what I need to unwind with. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Yeah, I get
yeah, yeah. And the thing is, I mean, up until like recently, and by recently I mean the last 20 years, I mean, um, music and marketing were not so, I mean, they were related, but it wasn't it wasn't as, I mean, right now it's completely out of control. I mean, it's really hard to tell the difference between marketing and music. They've really
go hand.
become almost a single thing because music right now is a product that needs to be consumed quickly,
Yeah.
needs to be liked and accepted very quickly, and then consumed and then thrown away. It doesn't really have a shelf life of more than maybe a few days or a few weeks, and that's just the way it is. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm not judging it,
Yeah.
but when I was a younger guy, music had a longer lifespan. You would buy an album and keep it maybe for the rest of your life and keep listening to it, an album or a CD or a cassette. And and so because of this attachment to the music, I mean, yes, there was marketing when I was young for music. I did buy a lot of albums because I thought I was supposed to buy them. I mean, somehow
Of course.
I got convinced into buying them.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is that now, a gazillion years later, the ones that I still listen to are the ones that I bought because I liked it. And the ones that I bought because I thought it was cool to buy them, well, they're gathering dust. So
No, I get
yeah.
that. let people know about your sort of music background history, kind of how you grew up and how you got into guitar and everything like that. Kind of give everybody a bit of a rundown on your past.
Yeah, sure. I started playing guitar when I was pretty young. The first 2 or 3 years, I played a lot of covers because I thought that's what you did. I played we played like old punk stuff because
Sure.
I liked that it was fun, it was approachable, it was doable.
It's
For
easy.
my
It was
yeah
easy. Yeah.
for my level, I could play a Sex Pistols tune, okay.
Yeah.
And but I also really liked it. So I mean, and so I did that, and then pretty quickly I started putting things together myself, like putting a few chords and little melodies, and I really kind of became intrigued with that. And then eventually I lost all interest, and I've lost it ever since. I've lost all interest in playing covers or playing other music, and I've become just obsessed with the creative aspect of it. Now, when I first started out playing, I was just playing guitar, and I was just playing these little tunes with the guitar, and maybe having a drummer or a bass player, and would try and do stuff. When I was in my late teens, I moved to LA, to Los Angeles. I'm from Italy. I was born in Italy, but I grew up all over the place. But in my 20s, I moved to LA, and I had a band there. I mean, I was studying. I went to school there, but I had a band, and again, that was all originals. That was a great thing about um, that was a great thing about the 80s in Los Angeles, that you really could only play originals if you wanted to play clubs. If you played covers, you could only play like birthdays or weddings or whatever. I mean,
Weddings.
if you walk into a club with more than two covers, they would they would turn you off. They'd kick you out. Yeah. So it was really great. I mean, I really truly learned a lot. My band was, again, all originals. We just kept writing and writing, and everywhere you went, you heard people writing great stuff, and it was just really inspiring. And then when I left LA, I became isolated for a couple of years, in the sense that I wasn't really meeting any musicians, and because I just really liked the creative aspect, I kind of picked up the instruments that I needed to write my music. So I kind of like learned a little bit of drums, a little bit of bass and keyboards, and I would only learn enough to record the song that I needed. Um, so it wasn't like I sat there and like played bass. I was like, oh, bass is great. No, I mean, I was like, okay, I need a bass part for this. Let me try and figure something out. So it was really slow. There was no rush. I mean, it was just really organic in a sense, just really natural. Um, and uh, Here I am, again, a gazillion years later, and still very much in love with the creative aspect, the mystery of the creative aspect, because um, the thing is, and this is interesting because in my day job, I'm also creative. That's my job, is to be creative. I come up with ideas. But in my job, I've managed to. I mean, I understand the creative process for my job. I mean, I know what I'm doing, and I know there are steps. And yes, there's a divine spark that's got to hit you at one point with a really great idea. But up to that point, there's a process that I've mastered it, because I've been doing this job since I was 18. I'm way older than that. So, um, um, music, on the other hand, and I've been doing music for just as long. Music is still a complete mystery. I mean, I'll sit down, I'll jam, and I'll come up with an idea. And so up to that point, okay, I know what's going on. And then the minute I start recording, then you go, or at least that's what happens to me. You just kind of lose sense of time and space, and you're just kind of like adding and recording. You don't really know where it comes from. And then lo and behold, you find yourself at the end of the process with like a finished piece.
Yeah.
And which is kind of exhausting, because you kind of like, at the end, you're like, oh man, that was kind of, I'm like drained.
It's wild.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I'm drained. But then you're also just going like, fuck, I don't know where this stuff came from. I mean, I cannot duplicate this process.
Right.
I mean, it happens.
Yeah.
Um, but if I were to sit down now with you and go, okay, Justin, let's just write a tune. We can sit here till the cows come home. I mean, there's nothing's going to happen.
Right.
I haven't understood the process. And I think that's what really fascinates me about it.
Yeah.
That is just, I don't know what really happens. I don't know where the ideas come from. I mean, I'm sure like we all do. I have a huge back catalog of music that I've listened my entire life. And I know I'm picking ideas from there. I'm not even realizing it. But still, even this process of of maybe being inspired by something I heard years ago, it's not a conscious process. It just kind of happens.
Yeah.
So what's kept me fascinated about the process of writing music. And I think it's just going to keep. I don't think I'm going to lose it anytime soon. I think I'm going to go to the grave with this fascination of just I don't know what the hell happens. It's just really great, and I love it, and that's it.
No, I get that. And that's the thing is when it comes to, whatever your passion is, whether it's art, drawing, painting, that art should feel like a bottomless well where you're going, I still haven't I feel like I haven't reached the end. Like I'm still learning, not just by music and different genres and stuff, but just your own ability at learning a new song, learning new chords, learning a new beat, or anything like that. Like there's you should still have that excitement in the art process. You know what I mean? Which is great because you're going, look, I don't know where these ideas come from, but whatever I'm doing, I must be doing the thing right. And you should just keep doing that. I think that's extremely important. You don't lose that drive. You know.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's a very mysterious and very natural process. There's really not much thought behind it. And like what I think is very interesting is that earlier I opened like a little sidebar when I was talking about soundtracks. When I do soundtracks for like a commercial project, like a video, whatever, then it's a whole different concept. It's just kind of like the advertising that I was telling you about. You're like, well, at this moment, I'm trying to create pathos. At this moment, I'm trying to create excitement. So it's a very cerebral construction.
Yeah.
And with the skills that you've got as a musician, you're like, okay, well here, I can hear like a hard guitar because I'm gonna need like, the big, hard on moment. And here, here's like violins because it's gotta be sad. And with the trappings, because you do play with stereotypes in commercial music. You have to play with stereotypes. Um, in my more natural music, what I think is extremely interesting is that I can sit down and go, this idea that I have, I really would like this to be a country song.
Mm.
I'm just using an example, right?
Sure.
And you're like, yeah, it's gonna be a country song. So I'm gonna take out my Telecaster and a clean amp and then regardless of what the fuck I do, it always ends up sounding like something that I would do if I was not wanting to do a country song. So I'm kind of like stuck in my I'm kind of like stuck in my parameters, and I'm like, okay, well, that's fine. Um, I'm still happy with it, but it's just funny how, regardless of how far you try and run, you always come back to who you truly are,
Yeah.
as it's your personality that you're expressing through, whether it's painting or music. And no matter how far away you run, you're always there, and your taste follows you. So I thought that was interesting. But yeah, the drive is absolutely there. The excitement, the fun. I don't see that ever going away.
That's good.
Maybe because I was fortunate enough to never have to play for money,
Mm.
and I think that made a big difference.
That's good.
If I had somehow to make a living with music, maybe I would have lost a little bit of the excitement.
Sure.
But as is, I mean, I don't make a dime with it, and it doesn't really affect me. So it's it's extremely liberating.
Yeah. And it's, you're talking about finding your sort of music identity, which I think is important that you keep that because you don't want to live in this world where you're copy pasting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's hard to find there's so many acts out there where they're they're going, this is selling, so I'm going to do this. This genre, this style, this whatever is what's making people rich. It's what makes them, famous, da 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 da. Then I'm going to do this. No, you're going, look, I'm I'm still discovering myself after all these years and all this, music I've listened to and worked on, my identity should be in my music instead of going, this is someone else's. You know what I mean? I think that's important to have that.
Yeah. And, like I said, I mean, it's not like I really have a choice. I mean, that's just kind of what happens. Um, because, I think, we've talked about this before, not on this podcast, but
Yeah.
there's a band that I just love, that I adore, that is called Japan. And
Hmm.
Japan's they didn't last very long, and they only had a few albums, and out of those albums, only a couple are, in my opinion, are just majestic.
Amazing.
But there's a band that just writes like, and I wish I could write like that.
Yeah.
If I could, I would.
Hmm.
Um, but because they're coming out of left field, and I think a big difference is also that there were at least three thinking minds there. Actually, in Japan there were probably four.
Yeah.
Four very creative, extremely extremely talented musicians.
Oh yeah.
And so when you start adding, different flavors, that's when you get something really interesting. In my case, as long as I keep playing alone, I mean, again, it's like, uh, I'm I'm making different cakes out of the same ingredients, and that's kind of what it's like. I don't mind it. I've collaborated with people in the past, and it's always fun, and sometimes it's extremely enlightening, because you get people that come up from perspectives that are completely different than mine, and then my reaction to that is always surprising, because I'm like, okay, I've never heard this approach, and let's see what happens, and then somehow, like, I'll find my way to like dance along with whatever this person's doing. Um, and yeah, I did a collaboration a few years ago with this American singer, and she's a lot more than a singer. She's a musician. She's a great singer, and but she's like from a whole different planet. I mean, seriously, she's not from Earth. She's just, the way she perceives music, the way she writes. I've never seen anything like that. And she asked me, let's do something together, and I was like, sure. And then I was like, at first I was afraid, because I was like, I don't know what the fuck to do with this. I mean, this stuff is just, it's
Otherworldly.
like, it just goes. I mean, it doesn't. I'm very much a pop guy. I
Yeah.
like the pop formula. I like songs that you can actually like remember, and there's a formula, and you come back to it, and there's a chorus. And this woman, she just like starts writing and just goes. It's just like, yeah. But it's beautiful. It's really pretty. I mean, it's just really beautiful stuff, but it just goes.
Yeah.
And it forced me to think in a very different way. I loved it.
Yeah.
But man, let me tell you, it was a bitch, man. It was really hard.
Yeah. I don't blame you.
Uh,
And it's good to find those challenges where you go, I want to match that energy. I don't want to be this sort of cap that goes over a light. You're going, look, I want to be a light too. Let's be a light together. And you really want to like have a great collaboration with somebody, and not just that, but it's like, I got this, you got that, let's try and make something new. And one, it could be, it's scary and it's intimidating, especially if it's someone that you're like, I don't know where this person gets their music from. I don't know where they're, this is so foreign to me, but it's such a beautiful process where you're going, if this works, this is going to be awesome and it's going to feel
yeah.
right. You know what I mean? I love that. It's scary and it's exciting at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, with this particular person, I mean, her name is Craven Wise Crow, and her project is called Intelligent Light 23.
Hmm.
And I think I think there's something really special about this woman. Um, but what I enjoyed about, I mean, the reason why I got hooked into it, and I was like, sure, I'll do it. It's because, although it's very different, it's extremely pleasant to the ear. It's not something that's like so, like odd noise shit that I'm like,
Sure.
I cannot understand where it begins or where it ends. It's just, I don't know what the fuck's going on. Is it a vacuum cleaner, or is it music? Um,
Yeah.
um, because I've played with people like that, believe it or
Sure.
not. Yeah, there was
Yeah.
this bass player I used to play with, and I was like, dude, playing with you is like playing with a blender.
Yeah.
It's just one speed and it just goes noise.
It overpowers the whole thing. You're just like,
Yeah.
Jesus, man. Yeah. Can we all kind of come together? It's just like, nope. Like,
Yeah. And no, this woman just really just really beautiful stuff, just really very, very musical, pleasant to the ear. Um, but even her beats, and I know you're a drummer, so
yeah.
that was probably gonna be interesting to you. The beats, I mean, if you try and go, there was this one tune that I was at one point I just gave up. I'm like, okay, she's not really following a beat. I mean, it sounds like a beat, but it's not. It's like
Huh.
she's like speeding up and slowing down, but not because she sucks. It's like she's just kind of like playing like as if she's playing to a heartbeat. And when you get more excited, your heart goes a little bit faster. When you get bored, a little bit slower.
Yeah.
And I mean, there was very slight variations that totally made sense. And you were like, yeah, okay, it makes sense for this to speed up. But I'm like, wow, she just threw the metronome out the fucking window. I mean, this is amazing.
Wow.
Um, um, so yeah,
That's
yeah.
crazy.
Sometimes you'll have pleasant encounters like that, and they're awesome.
That's
Yeah,
cool. Because, I mean, I like when you can get an instrument and you can kind of think outside the box going, how can I not um not just keep doing the same thing, but like how can I evolve from this? And even just with drums, it's hard because you got to have the beat. You got to have the heartbeat. But if you can play it in a way that's almost like a rhythm and kind of go and then slow it down. Like if you can do something to it to bring it outside of its own sort of whatever, I'm trying to think of the word, like the sort of the normal beat or whatever, and kind of make it into its that's that not only is that smart, but that's incredible and extremely creative, because that's one of those things, like it's hard to try and do that with if it's a drum machine or playing behind a set. You can do the sort of the jazz syncopated kind of da 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 kind of thing, but if you can speed it up and kind of slow it down without throwing off the listener, I think you got something there. That's pretty
yeah,
cool. I like that.
yeah, yeah,
That's wild.
yeah. And sometimes you'll again you sometimes you'll just encounter people, and that's what I find fascinating. You'll encounter people that even though they grew up in the same culture as you did, I mean, the West, like we all have, that they're fortunate enough that they're able to like take music and go, you know what, I'm not really gonna follow any rules because I really feel like it.
Yeah.
And and it's not because I'm being rebellious, it's just because I've got a different feeling for this. And I think that's just great. I don't have that. I'm more of a, I like pop music and I like the way that pop works. And I used to experiment when I was younger, but then I became and I used to experiment a lot. And some things came out were quite interesting. But then I think as I became more and more um, fascinated with the craft of the songwriting, of just really making um, because it does become it truly does become a craft after a while. And we all have our own meter, and I was not a very good songwriter back then. I'm a better songwriter now. I'm not saying I'm a good songwriter because God knows, but compared to myself 20 years ago, well, I rock now. Um, and and it's because you spend more time just really crafting out the details. I'm like, okay, the rhythm and the words, and there's gonna be rhymes, and I just need I like beats a lot. I mean, I'm really into like the rhythm.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time in Brazil growing up, so I mean, a lot of that I think got into my veins. Um, Rhythm to me is extremely important. So even in a straight rock and roll song, just the guitar, if the guitar throws little accents here and there, a la Keith Richards, for example, who's always a little bit behind, a little bit forwards. He's always dancing with the beat, and that's just amazing. That's what makes it so contagious. And the same thing with the words, the meter of the lyrics. I mean, if you can add little accents here and there, it's like you're playing percussions with your voice. Um, so um, as I said, as I became more and more into this crafting of tunes that I thought were good, then I kind of left the experimentation behind.
Yeah, I get that, because at certain points it's like, because I've done that sort of like especially with drums and then synthesizers, you'll go. I've done these sort of typical dance remixes, but I've also gone to a whole nother planet where it's going, experimental noise and this sort of crazy, drum and bass type stuff. Like I've gotten both worlds where I'm going, okay, I like this sort of dance, poppy, techno-y type thing, but then it's like sometimes I just need to go to another planet just to kind of go to unwind a little bit. So yeah, I think it's great to explore all forms of art, whether it's your typical dun, or if it's like woo, that type of thing. So
I've listened to some of your stuff, by the way.
oh,
I
thank you.
went spelunking on Bandcamp, and the stuff that I heard was very cinematic. I mean,
Oh, thank you.
it's almost like, yeah, it's like soundtrack type stuff.
Yeah,
Extremely
yeah.
cinematic. Very well produced, by the way.
Oh,
Very well.
please, thank you. No, I think, and I mean, wow, yeah. I'm not used to talking about myself, but it's was it the I'm trying to think. Was it the house with dead leaves? It's got like an old rundown house on it.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
so that.
It was one about people eating sausages or something. I forget.
Oh, that one was an inside joke. That was we were.
Okay.
It was me and my friend. We were kind of joking around. I was kind of in this weird like dubstep phase. That was kind of in the sort of 2010s and stuff like that. But I don't know. Like I like the latest one that I did, which I'm gonna kind of whore myself out a little bit. It's called House of the Dead Leaves, and it was inspired by Italian cinema.
Yes,
The
it's a whole
Italian,
collection.
yeah,
I saw that.
the horror and the giallos of the 1970s. I was very much influenced by that, and it just it turned out to be a soundtrack to a movie that's in my head that it's like I'm kind of building, but it's like I can't make a movie and I'm not good at writing, but at least if I can get this onto some sort of audio, then that's what I'm trying to convey, that type of thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, thank you. Thank you
Well,
for checking out my stuff. I appreciate it.
oh, great stuff.
Um, what artists really sparked your interest? Any ones that really stand out that go, this is why I picked up the guitar. This is why I keep doing music. Which artists really made an impact on you?
Okay. That's a really good question. Well, the first guy, I mean, the first and the great thing is that I got to meet this guy many years later. I was living in Brazil when I was a kid, and back then nobody ever came to Brazil on tour. It was kind of like off limits. Nobody really came. And Queen ended up coming to Brazil for a tour. It was a two-city tour, São Paulo and Rio de Janeiro. And it was such an event that they actually televised it and showed it live on TV.
Oh
Because I
wow,
mean, nobody came, and Queen was like a huge band back then,
huge,
right?
huge.
So they televised it, and I'm sitting at home. He is he was a great piano player, classical musician,
Mm.
and I'm watching these guys, right? And Queen, and there's Brian May doing solos, and I turned to my buddy and I go, man, I wish I could do that, right? Because to me, it was something that was like so foreign. I mean, I thought you kind of had to be born with it. I don't know. I mean, it
Sure,
just
yeah,
I couldn't understand how you got to that point. I didn't see a path.
yeah.
And my buddy, um, who's still my best friend, he lives in Japan now, and he goes, well, you could. And I'm like, what? How? And he goes, well, I'll show you. I'll kind of show you things. And that's how we began. And he chose to play drums because maybe he was a great piano player. So he's like, fuck it, I'll just play drums.
Yeah,
So we both suck.
yeah,
We both start on the first floor and work our way up. And so I mean, I'll always be grateful. He knows this. I've told him 1,000 times. It's no secret. I mean, I think he really changed my life. He's one of those people that, a little thing can truly change your life. And so he was very patient, and he like taught me like the first couple of things. He was figuring them out with me. He's like, okay, but he knew like notes and stuff. So
yeah.
it's like, and so Brian May, first guy. The funny thing is that I got to meet him many, many, many years later. I was at Disneyland,
Oh wow.
and I saw him walking into a bathroom, and I'm like, and I've never done this in my life. And I had lived in LA for like 20 years at this point. So I mean, I wasn't starstruck. I'd met some celebrities. It's really no big deal when you live there. So, um, but Brian May, I see him walk into the bathroom. I'm like, I
Say
gotta
something
talk
to
to
the
this.
guy.
I gotta talk to this guy, right? So I walk into the bathroom and I just, he was washing his hands because he was done with his business, right? And I just told him, I go, dude, I started playing because of you. And I figured that would be it. He'd be like, oh, great, thank you, goodbye. But no, man, the dude is like he's such a gentleman. I mean, he actually just sat there and started asking me questions like, really? What do you play? How long did you play? I mean, I had to cut the conversation short because I felt like I was intruding on his time.
Whoa.
Because he was such a delightful person and really interested. Like, oh, now tell me about yourself. I mean,
Yeah.
blew me away. So a great thing to when you have like a hero and idol and you actually meet him and he ends up being better than you thought.
Yeah.
So I was blessed in that. So, anyways, to cut a long story short, I mean, then other guitar as a guitar player, the funny thing is that as a guitar player, um, I was always very impressed by the Van Halens, the Steve Morses, the Satrianis, those kind of guys, because it's a technical thing and it's fun to play fast.
Oh,
And in the 80s, if you played fast, you were half good just because of that. It didn't really matter what notes you played as long as you played it fast. And I was really fast.
yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say. But
That's your punk background. That's what it is. Just yeah.
yeah, yeah. Um, so as a guitar player, I was very influenced by those people. Then at one point, I stumbled on this guy called Steve Morse, and he had this instrumental album called High Tension Wires
Yeah.
that I just bought. I don't even know why I bought it because it had like a lame cover, and he looked like a complete dork in the back, the photograph. And I don't know what possessed me to buy that album, but I bought it.
Yeah.
And I still listen to it, and I still got to hold back the tears
Wow.
because it's just that good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and that album came out like in 88, I think 89. So yeah. And still gets to me and still I'm still blown away by the talent of that man. So that's as a guitar player. As a songwriter, instead, I my idols are very, very different people because usually these guitar heroes are really great to listen to, you know, shredding, but their songs just kind of sucked. I mean,
Sure.
there was really much there, also because it's very difficult.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who really got me as songwriters were people who did songs that were kind of simple, but just that felt really good.
Yeah.
So I remember like noticing Tom Petty at one point, going like, man, I really like the way this guy writes. Or Fleetwood Mac, going, God, these guys they really know how to put things together.
Oh yeah.
Prince was someone that really also different planet. I don't know. I mean, that's what blows me away about some musicians. I'm sure this happens to you. You hear like a really good musician, but somehow you can relate. You can go, yeah, okay, I can see how he came up with that, and
On a
he's
level,
just,
yeah.
but I can understand where he came up with that. And then there's people that you're just like, fuck, man, whatever, man. He's cheating, yeah.
Throwing your paperwork up in the air, you go, I don't even know anymore. I don't know where to
Yeah,
begin. Yeah.
yeah, you're like, what is this? Come
Yeah.
on, this was even before, and this happened to me with Prince, and this was even before I knew that he played everything. I thought he was just a songwriter.
Yeah.
So then when I learned that the guy actually went in and played every single instrument, then I was like, then I really was okay. You know what? This is bullshit. There's no way. There's not enough time in the world to master all these instruments.
Yeah. No, I get that. That's how I felt with Prince when I discovered Prince. I'm like, dude, how? Like, how? Like,
Yeah, I mean, because it takes time. I mean, you got to sit down, like, play the bass to learn the bass. You got to spend time on the instruments. This dude could play everything really well, and I'm like, either he had like longer days somehow, like 54-hour days, because it's just mythical, man. It makes no sense. So yeah, Prince, and then what really kind of like threw me off at one point of my path, and this was thanks to my cousin, great guy, really cool guy. He unfortunately died a couple of years ago of cancer. Everybody dies of cancer now.
Yeah.
Not much older than I am. And when I was a kid, and all I used to listen to was metal, like heavy metal. And I remember like I saw him one day, and I was wearing a Motorhead t-shirt, right?
Ooh.
And he goes Motorhead, huh? And I go, yeah. And he goes, well, I'm gonna have to play some stuff to kind of broaden your horizons a little bit. And he wasn't like criticizing. He was just saying, there's more. There's
He
more.
goes, let's go a little deeper. Right. I get that.
Yeah, there's other stuff. And so he made me a bunch of tapes. He was really into like new wave,
Oh, okay.
and a bunch of tapes of this music that at first I was like, okay, man, it's not hard enough. But I was like, but it's catchy, it's good, it's interesting. And what really threw me off was Susan the Banshees,
Mm.
because the atmospheres were like,
Yeah.
I'm like, man, this is like it's like magical music. I mean, it sounds like there's magic here. It's really kind of, and now keep in mind back in the 80s and where I was living, of course, MTV was still nowhere to be seen, or it didn't get
Didn't
to
quite
Brazil.
reach its peak. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Music magazines only talked about like the big huge bands.
Yeah.
So, and there was no internet, of course.
Yeah.
So I had no idea what these people looked like. I
Wow.
had no idea. Like I was listening to Judas Priest and had no clue what they looked like. I was listening to Susan the Banshees and had no, I mean, and and honestly, it didn't really. I don't remember ever even trying to imagine what they looked like. It was just
Sure.
okay, whatever. I'm just listening to the music, and the music has this effect on me, and I like that.
Yeah.
And so when I got to see him, I was like, well, Susan the Banshees. I was like, okay, yeah, well, they look exactly like they
Makes sense.
should. That's
Yeah.
yeah, they got that right. Um, Other bands, I was a little bit more disappointed. I was like, oh boy, really? Uh, but and and that's basically it. There was a time that I got into progressive music, but it was just because um, the weird rhythms that I really got, the weird meters. Um, but those are basically the artists, and let's. I don't want to forget the one album that really got me. Also was Making Movies by Dire Straits. It was
Ooh.
an album that somehow really it hooked me when I was 14, 15, whenever I heard it, and I still to this day I still really 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 enjoy it. I think there's a lot of really great songwriting in there. I think that the guitar playing is just really really tasty and just choice.
Oh yeah.
And Mark Knopfler, I think, influenced me a lot as a guitar player. Not the way that I sound,
Sure.
but I just really really like his playing.
Yeah. No, definitely. And I mean, I think those are key moments in your life when, and I've always kind of gone when you hit that sort of prime age, and I've always kind of, it's like, high school into college, or even when you're kind of in middle school to high school, that's always kind of the prime age when you kind of step into that spot, and it just kind of goes from there. For me, it was like and I was kind of at a weird age where I was listening to my parents' music, where it was like Led Zeppelin, but Pink Floyd, that band took me to another planet. When I
Mhm.
listened to Dark Side of the Moon, The Wall, it was just, and I actually saw the movie The Wall before I listened to the album, just because
Oh wow.
I was big on like movies, and always going to the rental store, and renting movies, and I saw The Wall, and it just the the movie art was like, what the just the screaming face. I'm going, what is this? And it took me to a whole nother world. And then again, I'm like, okay, so I got Pink Floyd, let's go to their early stuff, their Piper at the Gates of Dawn, their psychedelic stuff, and then it started getting me into that sort of 60s psychedelic music. And I that was a one of those bands that really was like a nice platform, and going, okay, now where do I go? Now where do I go from here? And, I can't say that my music sounds anything like Pink Floyd, but it's important that you have all these influences and you kind of absorb them like a sponge. And then when you're kind of in the music zone and you kind of wring yourself out, you're going, how can I kind of put all this into this?
Yeah.
And I think that's what your music says a lot about who you are, is that you're kind of going, I like all this. Now, how can I put it into this? And
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what it is interesting because I mean, well, when I started putting out music as Love the Ghost, I was let's say I was welcomed or at least appreciated by the Darkwave Goth community,
Oh, yeah.
and they they they, they were extremely nice in welcoming me, and it's funny because all these influences and bands that I just told you about. I mean, I don't sound like any of them. My music is a little moody. I think there's some dark tinges to it. Again, just because it's being all filtered through a person that has a little bit of a blue streak, like I told you earlier. Um, but what I think did stay, or at least with me, is this love for, like, okay, well, those people that I just mentioned earlier, those guys could really write a song. They could really, the song that would begin, it would get you in, you'd be like into it, and then they'd get out before you get bored of it. I mean, they managed to do this in the 3-minute formula, and and never got to the point that you're like, oh man, when's this thing gonna end? And
Yeah.
usually it's the opposite. You get to the end and you're like, ah, fuck, I'm gonna have to play it again because I need more.
Yep.
Uh, and I think that's what stayed in my head as far as format. That's the main influence of, like, okay, I want this music to. It's not so much that I want it. I feel that music needs to be songs need to be this way. I feel that they need to that it needs to follow a path from the beginning to a chorus, and it just has to feel natural. And I feel that it doesn't need to get boring. So as a guitar player, sometimes, not anymore, but years ago I was tempted of, like, okay, well, it's my tunes. I'm gonna throw in, like, a 1 minute guitar solo just because I'm the guitar player.
Yeah.
Fuck it,
Yeah.
and then you're like, no, because that's just boring. And well, it's boring. I'm sure just Mark Knopfler does it. It's fine, but I'm not that good.
Yeah.
So I think there's this appreciation for good songwriting that stayed with me, appreciation for atmospheres. Like I told you, Susan the Banshees blew me away because it was music with atmospheres. You could, like I remember, like, hearing, like, Israel or Honkin' Garden, or, like, just even just the hits. You don't have to go deep, just the hit stuff.
Yeah.
Um, it all just feels like you're, like, in a weird magical world.
Oh, Arabian Night. It was a lot like that.
Arabian Nights, yes, exactly. I was just thinking about that.
Yeah.
Um, and so that influence of, like, man, if I can take people on a little journey with my music, that'd be cool too. I would really like to do that because that's neat within within the context of a song that works, and with instrumentation and I like beats too. I mean, um, I think I told you last time we talked, uh, this one DJ that I was telling you about earlier, great guy. His name is DJ Jason. He's really pushed my music, maybe even too much. Maybe he's just getting people bored of my tunes because he just plays them all the time, and I love him for that. But and the first time I heard from him, I think he sent me a video of he was DJing in New York, and it was a club, and people were dancing to one of my songs.
Whoa.
So he sends me that, and to me it was just completely mind blowing because here am I, in the middle of Italy, writing songs and just putting them online and just saying, well, let's just see. It's like a message in the bottle. You're just kind of throwing and going, well, let's see what happens.
Let's see what sticks.
Um, and here, lo and behold, this dude from the other side of the world sent me this snippet of people dancing to my music, and I'm like, okay, well, this is really quite incredible. This is something else. So I forgot how I got in this tangent, but anyways,
Oh, you're good.
yeah,
No.
yeah,
Yeah, I think that's there's power in that, and I think there's power in the fact that not only do you have somebody kind of helping you out, which I think is important in a community where you have kind of this sort of like-minded artists and the sort of when we're in that sort of goth genre and that sort of thing where they go, I like this, I want to spread the word, and not just again, you're talking, he's doing this in New York and you're all the way in Italy. Like
Yeah.
there's something beautiful about that, and it's rewarding. And there's those things where whether you're an artist or a musician, you kind of go through this like two steps forward, one step back, where you feel like you're going, what am I doing? Should I just keep, putting this out? Should I keep going? Is it all worth it? And it's those moments that are like, this is why. This is why I'm doing this. Not just be like, oh, okay. There's always, I do it as the artist, I do it as a release, I do it. But then when you see people going, this changed my life. This helped me dance the night away. This helped me get rid of this, that. It's going. It's the message is received, and I think that's important. There's something beautiful about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you get feedback from people, I mean, I think it's because also, nowadays we've all become so jaded to, um, you're scrolling on social media or wherever you're at, and you see something, and if it's really great, maybe you'll give it a like or a heart. But I mean, the level of engagement, it's pretty minimal. And so in this day and age, when somebody actually takes the time to write something,
Yeah.
uh, or send you an email, or even just write something, just a little comment, then you're like, okay, this is a human reaction that's gone a little bit above and beyond what's usual, and the feeling is just great. I mean, that's why I always encourage people. I'm like, you know, our level of musicians, the ones that are just doing it, for ourselves and are not really making any money, but are just having a good time with it. Um, we well, I can't speak for you, obviously, but I mean, for myself, um, I'm not doing this for money, so it's not a cash grab. But if you take the time to an artist or a musician know that you like what they're doing, that's priceless. I mean, that truly is priceless. Because on the other side, what you're getting, and it's happened to me, you get first of all the confirmation that someone has actually listened to your stuff, has actually paid attention to it, and actually registered some kind of a reaction. And that reaction was important enough to let you know about it, which is fucking massive if you think about it. Because I mean, how often do we even do it, right?
Yeah.
Uh, so that's the thing. I mean, in the past years, every once in a while, I'll get something like a little snippet, a little something from somebody going like, these words mean something to me, and it just means the world. I mean, it really is very rewarding. I think makes the effort, because I mean, you know how it is. We write our music, we record our music. We could just stop there.
Oh yeah, I
We
could
just
just
okay,
there.
done.
That's it. Yeah.
I've got a gazillion CDs, and that's what I used to do in the 80s before there was internet. I used to just record all the time. And I got stacks of tapes of music that I used to do. And that was it. I'd spend the night doing that. Smoking a bunch of cigarettes because I smoked back then, and smoking and recording, and in the morning I had a song, and I was like, all right, cool, whatever. And that sufficed. That was enough. But now we're doing a little something extra. It's like now we're putting it out there. We're like, okay, oh, I'm gonna put it on Bandcamp, and I'm gonna design a little cover for it. I'm gonna embellish it somehow, and I'm gonna offer it. So I mean, obviously, if we're doing this, we are doing it because we hope for some kind of feedback,
Of course, yeah.
which is not gonna be monetary at this point, but you know, feedback of people saying I enjoy it or I got something out of it,
Yeah.
and that makes it all worth it.
I think so too. And it's one of those things where, you know, whether you're doing it for money or you're just doing it just to get it out there, I think there's that important. And even just I think for me, feedback is more important than, getting money out of this. I mean, I get it. Some people that's their bread and butter, and I'm not in that case. I just love making music, and not just that, but of course this podcast, like it's one of those where it's like if somebody goes, this did this for me, then it's like that's more important than someone handing over, because it's like you need that, you know what I mean? Money comes and money goes, but those comments and those, this helped me get through this, that stays with you a lot longer than the dollar bill in your pocket.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I
Oh,
think
absolutely.
that should be one of those extremely rewarding processes that you do as an artist. I think it's great. You know, so
Absolutely.
um, tell kind of give Love the Ghost was your music project, your art project. Tell me about how it kind of started, and then kind of how it progressed, not just your sort of relationship with the instrument and the music making process, but also just writing lyrics. I know how difficult that could be, kind of going, oh, this is a little personal. Like, tell me about how you kind of not just progressed musically, but writing lyrics and that sort of breaking out of that comfort level.
Sure. Well, I think, well, like I told you, ever since I was in my 20s, back then when we only had four tracks and the four-track tape recorders, I used to just record all the time, and it was just really fun putting things together and just assembling songs and just writing songs, and it was just that was the thing that I did, and I just did that throughout, my life. The only music that I ever published was music I was doing for soundtracks. That's the music that actually anybody heard outside of my realm. Um, I never really published any songs or did anything with them. Then at one point, this is about 10 years ago, um, I had this one song that I did, and it's called I can't remember my own tune. What's it called? Nobody else.
Nobody.
Yeah. It's called Nobody Else. And I did this one song, and I don't know why. I don't know what possessed me. I just did a little video for it, just stealing images here and there. And I put it on YouTube. And at the time, I had been corresponding with the singer of this band called the Angels of Liberty. His name was
Oh yeah, Vo, yeah,
St.
yeah.
Clair.
Mm-hmm.
He passed away, unfortunately, a few years ago.
Yeah.
Anyways, at the time, I was corresponding with him only because I was trying to get a hold of his albums because they were hard to find. And his distributor in Europe was this guy in Finland who was not very pleasant to deal with. So I got in touch with the Angels of Liberty. I'm like, look, I like your music. Where can I buy it? And he goes, well, I'll just sell it. I'll sell it to you myself. And I go, okay, great. And he was, again, a gentleman, just a beautiful person. Sent me like a bunch of like extra freebies and signed stuff, just great stuff. So, anyways, that's the extent of our transaction.
Mm-hmm.
Bought some CDs and I got him and I was happy and that was it. Never bothered him again. Then I put out this song and he writes me and he goes, "Is this you?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Oh man." And he goes, "This is really cool." And he started sharing it on his social media. And of course, Angels of Liberty at the time was a pretty known band,
Yeah.
and in this scene at least. So I got a lot of attention. I mean, a lot. Of course, we're talking from 0 to 1 is a lot.
Still, yeah, it's still something, right? Yeah.
Yeah, relatively. I got some attention for that song, and I started thinking, okay, maybe I should. Maybe I should publish some songs. Maybe there's some interest for it. And that's when the big shift happens. See, you asking me about, about instrumentation and lyrics. As far as I'm a guitar player, and that's what I do. I think I'm a decent guitar player at this point in my life. And my guitar playing muscle is well trained. My ear is really good, and I can for a guitar. So as far as instruments are concerned, nothing much changed. What really changed was, well, now I was going to sing on it, which I'm not really a singer. I never really sang before in my life. I never really had any interest in singing. But I couldn't find a singer, so I'm like, I'm gonna have to sing my own songs. And so now I was singing my songs, so it's my voice, and I'm like, and it's my words, and people are gonna hear my words. So then everything just became okay. I really want to write stuff as far as lyrics. I really want to write stuff that I'm not gonna cringe about 10 years from now. Um, and I think the only way I can do this is if I'm very genuine and very honest about what I'm writing, because I will change, I will mature, I will my perspective will hopefully change because that means that I'm growing. But I'm always going to respect where I was at one point.
Yeah.
Whereas if I'm trying to be something else that I'm not, it's gonna be embarrassing. It's gonna get embarrassing pretty quickly, as far as I'm concerned, because I'm really a hard critic when it comes to it. So then that's when I started being extremely, extremely careful with my lyrics. I really wanted them to be, I wanted to be proud of them. I wanted to be lyrics that I would be proud of, and that actually meant something, that had meaning. I didn't want it to be completely overt and obvious. Um, I, as long as there's a meaning there that I will remember, then it's okay. It's like a testament. It's like a diary. It's like I'm writing a diary of like. And I also realized that it was coming more natural to me to write about things that I experienced, about real experiences. For whatever reason, I wasn't drawn to writing about happy things, which kind of sucks. But that's again, you gotta take yourself for what it is.
For what you know, right? You write what you
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
And that's maybe because the happy things I'm happy with, the bad things I kind of like internalized, and writing a song about it is just kind of like barfing it out. It's just
It's therapeutic. Yeah. It's therapy. Yeah. It's the purge.
and it's out of your system. So I started writing about things that bothered me. And so and a lot of the things, and I think that's what took this music on a kind of like a darkish kind of road. Um, because I write about not always, but I write about things that I'm afraid of, and but as a mature man, I mean, I'm not gonna write about
Spiders.
those, because I'm not. Yeah, yeah. So I write about things that really scare me, like like growing older, or isolation, of not being understood,
Yeah.
the things, not being able to communicate what you experience, or your family members growing older, or having to really face death eventually, and it gets ugly, of course. I mean, we don't know that. So that's what evolved. Now, Love the Ghost is not all the music that I produce. Love the Ghost is a certain type of music that I produce that fits within um, this package. Let's put it this way.
Yeah.
I write other things that are, I don't know. I would like to release them. I don't know how. I don't know if I should release them as Love the Ghost or come up with yet something else. But my real name is not a very. I mean, I have a great cult leader name, but it's not a great musician name. So not conducive.
Do it, David Koresh. Just bring it all together. How
Yeah,
about that?
yeah. I've got one of those names. So it's like, no, it's not gonna work. It's hard to remember, and it's just really kind of like, yeah, it's too big of a name. So I don't know, because I've got these other songs that I think are really nice. I think they're real poppy, and they're not, of course, the vein is still a little bit sad because it's just the way it is. That's just how my mind works. But they're kind of like poppyish, and happier. So on the other hand, I think to myself, well, look at The Cure. The Cure had Pornography, which is the album that I love by them.
Great
And
album.
then the later albums are like pop albums, and I'm like, well, maybe I could do that too. Maybe I won't kill the Love the Ghost vibe if I release some things that are more like, Friday I'm in Love.
Yeah.
Um, so that's basically it. And of course, once you know that you have, as small, as minute as it might be, it's still an audience. As long as once you know that there are people out there listening to you, that whenever you put something out, they're going to listen to you, and then that kind of becomes, that's a little bit of a pressure, and you start And you start thinking, well, I need to be more careful with production. I need to be, which is really hard for me because I get bored really easily.
Sure.
That's the ADD, unfortunately, side of me.
Yep. Here,
Uh,
you're here. Me too. Yep.
I understand that.
Yep.
So, you really get into things but once they're done, you're like next. And with this kind of stuff, you can't just go next. You have to go, okay, the song is done. I've recorded it. Now I've got to sit there and play with the frequencies to make sure it sounds as good as possible.
Yeah.
And that's really tedious for me.
Mm-hmm.
That really bores me.
Yeah.
But now that I know that there's few people out there who listen to my stuff, then now I'm like, okay, well, I need to be more careful. I need to spend more time on this. I need to make sure that what they hear is as decent as possible.
Yeah. No, I get
Yeah.
that. And what if anybody goes, listen, I want you to perform live. Would you, be willing to do a one man thing, or would you feel more comfortable trying to get a band together?
Okay, let me answer it this way.
Yeah.
But if I had to, if I
If
really had,
anybody's like, just do a one off show,
yeah,
if you can, would you, and how would you go about it?
if I had to, like for whatever reason, I would rather have a band because I think I did play in bands, and playing in bands is a lot of fun. I
Mhm.
mean, it really is great. It gives music a whole different dimension. Um, and it can be a disaster, but hopefully at this point, we're all going to be good enough musicians to um, save ourselves from complete disaster.
Yeah.
And that's if I had to choose between alone or with a band, I think a band just adds a lot of stuff. Like I could never play with a drum machine. I mean, I really like playing with drummers.
Yep.
And I'm happy that drummers like playing with me. I mean, there's something that happens when I get a drummer that we click, and it's just me and him or me and her. But and there's a lot of we're feeding off each other. Maybe because I'm very rhythmical in the way that I play, and drummers catch on, and they're like, okay, this is fun. I'm gonna have fun with this guy, and I think my music with a band would change, and I think it would probably improve, honestly. If I could get a real drummer in there, I think my music would improve a lot. Having said that, I I played I played live when I was young, when I was in my 20s, and this situation was very different in the sense that um, clubs were designed for bands.
Oh yeah.
You'd go to a club and there was like a really cool stage with lights and a great sound system, and the band would play, and you would sit and watch the band. So I used to go and watch all kinds of bands, and when I played, people would come and watch my band,
That's
and it
cool.
was a great feeling. Now, whenever I get people asking me like, "Whoa, let's do something and go play somewhere," and I'm like, "Go play where?" And they show me where they're playing, and it's like some little pizza place, and they're like in the corner playing, and everybody else is just doing something else.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want to do that. That's
I want
just,
to go through that.
that's why. It's not. I don't need that anymore. It's not in my. Um, it, it's not in my set of needs
Sure.
to have people watch me and tell me that I'm good.
Yeah.
Because that's honestly, and I'm sure that's my problem, but that's the only reason why I used to do it. I used to just play live because I used to love people telling me, "Oh man, you're really good," and my ego would just explode. It would only last like 10 minutes, and I'd feel like shit again because that's just that's how depression works. But um, um, so at this point, I'm like, I don't need that.
Yeah.
Playing live to me is a major hassle.
Oh yeah.
All the trouble of getting the instrumentation and the sound, I just don't really see it, because what I get excited with, like I told you earlier, is just sitting around, having an idea come up,
Mhm.
and then finding myself at the end of the process.
No.
And that's irreplaceable.
I've been through that, and it's one of those things where it's like when you've done music and you've done the project, or you're with a band, you go through the trenches. You go with performing up on stage, dealing with people, performing at the pizza joint with the tiny stage. There's some excitement in that, and I've always had those nostalgic moments where I go, "That was fun. That was a great show." Blah blah blah. But at a certain age and a certain time, you're going, I really don't want to go through that again. I don't want to
Yeah.
sleep, I don't want to, rent out a van, uh, sleep on floors. I don't want to be broke. You know what I mean? Like even me, when people go, have you thought about performing live again? I go, not really. Like I don't have that itch. I don't have that need. Whatever I'm doing now is scratching that itch, which is, performing music, releasing it out, recording, just doing this podcast is like great to where it's like I really enjoyed having those connections with artists that you're going, oh, we're going to share the stage. You're coming, I'll do, let's talk about, let's talk shop, let's talk war stories, let's, this, that, and the other. And I think that's what I loved most about doing shows was just that camaraderie, and everything like that. But now it's like I couldn't go through that again. Like it's yeah, been there, done that. Got the t-shirts.
Yeah, I mean, I think, it's just something that it's not in me. And again, I mean, I have no I mean, no qualms about it in the sense it's not in me. I don't have it. And I've seen other, I mean, I remember, for example, one of the last times I was in LA, and I had met this guy backstage at a concert, and he was the old singer for Santana, some guy called Aleph Lithgow.
Yeah.
And we started chatting, and he goes, I'm doing a, and he was older, right? And he goes, I'm doing a gig with some buddies at the Baked Potato next Tuesday. Do you want to come watch? And I'm like, sure, I'll come watch. And I went, and I didn't know. It was like the cream of the crop. It was like the best freaking musicians, studio musicians that were going to sit there and jam.
Yeah.
And they started, I don't know if they were jamming. I don't know what the fuck they were doing, whether it was planned. But it was so beautiful, dude. I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
that I mean, I really, I started getting teary-eyed because I was just touched by like, God damn, these guys are so good,
So
right? This
talented.
is
Yeah.
talent.
Yeah.
And like the guitar player he was playing with George Benson.
Ooh,
The
wow.
drummer was Steve Ferrone, who like set in for Duran Duran. And at the end, he was an amazing player.
Yeah.
So all these like studio cats that just kicked major ass. And this guy singing, this guy was like with an amazing voice. And so I mean, I realized, and it's funny because I mean, so I watch these guys and they take a break, they're like, okay, whatever, intermission, and they go to the bar, and Alex calls me, and goes, Andre, come over and come meet the guys, right? And I go meet the guys, and the guitar players are like, are you a musician too? Do you play? And I'm like, no, because I'm like, in my
They'll
mind, I
spot
was
you.
like,
They always
yeah,
spot you. They'll know a musician. They go, "You're a musician." You just go,
yeah,
"No," but because then they're gonna ask you your stories and can we list it? You just go, I'd rather not. You just, I get it. So
yeah, but it was also because I mean, their level was so superior, and I was like, I am not a musician compared to these people. These
yeah,
guys are
on dust.
I'm,
Yeah, I get
I'm
that.
I'm a guy who's fucking around with guitars, who can fake his way through like a tune, and sure,
I'm
but
doodling. I'm doodling. I'm musically
yeah,
doodling.
but I'm like, but this is something else. I mean, this is like a whole different realm. I mean, these guys are like, these are guys from outer space,
Yeah,
and so in a sense, why am I telling you the story? Because those guys, they could sit around, have a jam session, do a live gig, and get off it, and it just works. And I think at this point, because now it's been like 20 years since then, and there's a few guys that we meet every once in a while, and we're just gonna like have like these long jams, creative jam sessions. We just kind of like start creating stuff. And they've talked about we should go to a club and do this, and I was like, well, no, because that's not what I'm into. But I realized, okay, now I'm at a point in which I could do something like that. It's not a technical issue anymore. It really is a non-interest
sure.
issue. It's just I think that when I'm sitting with those two guys, it's a drummer and a keyboard player, and I play bass and guitar, which just kind of depends on. And when I'm sitting with those guys, we're just creating. I'm just creating like a madman, and these guys are following me, and it's really really cool. If we were to add the fourth element of an audience, I'm sure we'd fuck it up for me. Because then I would be like, it's like the Zen story about the archer.
Yeah,
You know, if You know
Yeah.
how it is, right? If you're just having fun, yeah, you're gonna hit the mark. If you're trying to hit the mark, you're gonna miss. And that's what I think. I'm like, okay, if I did that, I know I would start thinking about, well, I gotta come up with something really creative, and I'd probably freeze, and nah, it's just
Yeah.
not me anymore.
I get that. And you just kind of reach that point where you're just like, I'm happy with where I'm at, you know. And again, nothing against people who tour because believe me, I envy those who can tour and can get away with it and can financially support themselves doing it. I think that's great. I love that, you know, I support everybody who does that 100%, but it's not in my bag. You know what I mean? I got my life, I got my family, I got the podcast, I got my music. It's just like I'm reached my point where I'm like, this is it. This is my happiness. This is what I love to do, and I'm just gonna stick with it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think for me, I think the fact that I can release this music, and some people will listen to it, and some people will give me feedback. I think at that point, why it's like it's okay, done. I got my music out. Someone's hearing it. Someone's reacting. Um, done. Next,
That's it. What's
let's
next?
move on to the next song. Yeah, yeah.
That's funny. So what is next for Love the Ghost? Are you gonna continue to work on Love the Ghost songs, or I know you talked about other projects. Tell me what do you feel like you have in the works right now for people to look forward to?
Um, well, Love the Ghost, just it's gonna keep I'm gonna I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing. I'm just gonna keep trying to write the best songs that I can, try and produce them as well as I possibly can. Try to be as truthful to everything that I've told you so far, to what I think is my mission, let's put it this way.
Yeah.
Brand.
The brand. Yeah.
Yeah. And just hopefully just put out some decent stuff that people will get into, and that's gonna be enough. With this other outfit that I'm playing with, I've got two other things that I'm working on. It's a little bit too early. I'm collaborating with two musicians from the United States,
Ooh,
and we might put out an album. It's probably gonna be like a short album, probably like just 6 songs,
EP. Yeah.
or maybe less. We'll see. And that's an interesting thing that I'm working on, just playing with other writers and or arranging and writing and co-writing their songs. Um, and then these jam sessions that I was telling you about, well, some of the things that we're doing are really interesting. They're really kind of like out there because it's just all improvised.
Sure.
But we're thinking of ways to like maybe record them. And we're talking about these long explorations. I mean, it's like 60 minutes worth of just whatever. But when you get three minds in the same room, they're like tuned in.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes you get some really cool stuff out. So we might eventually release some of that. But yeah, the only structured project is Love the Ghost, which is just gonna keep going as is. I've got some new songs I'm working on. I've got a bunch of songs that I haven't finished because I can't really find lyrics for them. I mean, and which is really frustrating because I mean I've got the melody line, I've got everything.
Yeah.
The music is all recorded, it's all done. I just need to sing on it. I am really insecure about my voice, first of all, so I'm not really, so that already kind of like kind of freezes me a little bit.
Sure. Yeah.
But aside from not being super comfortable singing, again, the lyrical content extremely important, and I got to write something that actually makes sense, and I'm kind of have a little bit of a writer's block right now.
Sure.
Um,
Yeah. We all hit
but
those walls. Yeah.
yeah, but again, there's no rush. I mean, there's no deadline, so there's going to be a tune coming out probably in about a month. Um, I'll give you a heads up so you let me know what you think of it.
Of
I
course.
think it's a pretty good song.
Can't wait.
Again, following all the guidelines that I told you about earlier.
Yeah.
Um, and that's basically it.
That's exciting. That's exciting. One last question, and I'll let you go. I appreciate your time. What words of advice do you have for anybody who's, wanting to go into music or even just advertisement or anything like that? If anybody's just listening to this just to kind of get their mind off the day, what personal words of advice do you have for them?
Well, I mean, I could give great advice for advertising. In fact, I teach advertising too at a couple of local other universities. Um, and advertising is a, it's a field of work. It's about you've got to understand people. You've got to really love communication. You've got to really understand how communication works. It's not something to be taken lightly. I mean, sure, you can just be a graphic designer, but still, even if you're just a graphic designer, whatever you do needs to have an intention and needs to fulfill a purpose. Advertising, I mean, right now it's a very strange moment, but this applies to music as well. AI.
Oh yeah.
I need to play with AI in my day to day. So far, I find it extremely disappointing. It's like slow. It's like working with a slow person. I mean, I swear to God, it slows me down.
Oh yeah.
AI slows me down.
Mhm.
Maybe it helps other people, but to me, it's like working with a fucking anchor. I mean, it's over and over explaining things. The thing gives you back bullshit, pretending it's real, and you have to be smart enough to realize it before you kind of like fall into a trap yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
Design wise, it never really gives you what you asked for. It just gives you some things that are pretty. So what it's doing, it's training us to accept whatever it gives you as being good enough.
Yep.
So it's pretty brutal, I think.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
But it is what it is, and it's always it's gonna be unless something massive happens and there's a mass illumination. But it is going to be a part of the everyday advertising life. But I think the main concept, and I think this is probably one philosophy that I've developed in advertising that I also use for my music, which is um, it's not really a matter of what you want to say. It's more of a matter of what you want people to listen and actually understand.
Right.
And that changes completely the paradigm. Because I would like to tell you what a great musician I am, and I can say it a thousand million times, but at the end of the day, it's me playing and how I play and how I play to you that's going to get you to actually think that or not think that. So the major distinction between commercial art and real art, and by commercial art I mean advertising, marketing, etc., is that commercial art you're not really putting much of your heart into it. You really should not, because if you do, you're going to get hurt big time. You're not producing art, you're trying to make a sale.
Of
So
course.
it's a whole
The
a
whole
whole
separate thing. Yeah.
yeah. When it comes to art, all I can say is what's worked for me. Again, I try and do things that I like. So of everything that I've done in my life, um, it was never fake. I mean, it wasn't like I did something because I was trying to be, whatever the next whatever band was,
Sure.
because that would not have worked. And so whatever I do, I stand behind it. I think it makes sense. I still like it to this day. I can see how I was very primitive back then and how I'm perhaps more refined now. But what still stands as a rule is that I've always played what I like, and that's basically it. Because I think also, if you don't, I mean, let's put it this way: I was very fortunate in my life. I chose a career that I enjoy.
Mhm.
I have fun doing my work,
Good.
and so I was really fortunate.
Yeah.
Most people don't have that fortune. Most people go to work and fucking hate it and can't wait for the day to be over to go home.
Yes.
And I was very fortunate. That was not my case.
Mhm.
But even though I had this fortune of enjoying myself at work, when it comes to music, if I wasn't enjoying myself, well, then what's the point of doing it, right? Um, so I think that's got to be the bottom line for everybody. Just to, make sure you stick to what you like and do it for yourself. If you're gonna do it to try and make money, then yeah, then it's marketing and it has its place and it has its rules. Um, and it's a lot, actually, I think it's a lot easier to do it that way, because there is a structure, there are some rules.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're just creating art, you're just doing,
Just
you're
letting it
just
all out.
presenting. Yeah, you're just presenting some of the things that you like and to the world, and that's it. But do check out the lady that I was telling you about, this Intelligent Light 23.
Write that down, and then I'll add a link to it to the description. If anybody's watching this, I will have a description in
And
the comments or the description. Intelligent Light, Light
yeah,
23.
yeah, I don't know what the 23 is for. Yeah,
Okay.
everything she does is extremely peculiar.
What does she sound like? What does she sound like? Like Bjork, or is there anything that you can kind of go, this kind of sounds like, or is she just like, you know?
Yeah, she's okay. I think I don't know if she's 100%, but I think she's part like American Indian, Native American.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
So there's a lot of that in there. Um, and I think you bring out Bjork and that kind of like I was like, yeah, okay, there's something like that.
Something
There's
to it.
because there's some God, it's hard to explain, but it is music that takes you away,
Yeah.
which I think is great. You listen to it and you're like you're taken somewhere else. It is pleasant. It's not unpleasant. It fits our Western idea of melody.
Yeah.
There's no fucking weird ass notes that you're like, well, um, it all kind of makes sense within our parameters. So
Yeah.
it's not shocking to the to our palate.
Yeah.
But the structure, there's no structure to our music.
Yeah.
I mean, if you like, if there's a chorus and you like the chorus, well, say goodbye to it because it's not coming back.
Right.
It's gone.
Exactly.
And and God, if you go on my YouTube channel,
Yeah.
I Love the Ghost.
Yep.
We did a show together. It was a virtual show,
Oh, okay, cool.
and so it's video and it's me playing. You don't really see my face because I wasn't comfortable about showing my face back then.
Yeah.
But and I'm just playing guitar and just doing some things to her music, and that'll give you a pretty good idea.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think that's a perfect place for people to, because when you're trying to go kind of put together the package of like, this is me. Again, you're trying to sell yourself in a way where it's like, this is the package, this is the music, this is the visual, this is this. I think that's important, especially, now when, you're trying to figure out where you're going to be, especially in the world of social media, where it's like, should I put my face out there? Which a lot of people don't know. Before this podcast, we had a previous podcast that kind of technology went, and it glitched out, and so this is kind of a re-record, and you were like, I'm okay with not showing my face, but now you're a little bit more comfortable. Tell me, if you want, are you just like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just do this kind of situation.
Sure. Um, well, right after right after we stopped talking last time, when we shut off the conversation,
Mhm.
I had this feeling that I was like, was that a mistake? Was that wrong? It just didn't feel right that
Sure.
I had concealed it. Somehow it just didn't feel right. Now, the reason why I never really showed my face, and I still don't show it on videos or stuff like that I do for Love the Ghost,
Yeah.
is because I never wanted to put a face to my music
Of course.
because people getting. I mean, in my field of work, I also do a lot of public speaking, and I've realized sometimes I'll walk into a room, and there's always going to be a couple of guys who just fucking hate your guts the minute they see you
Just judge you. Yeah, for sure.
because you just remind them of someone that did something to them, you know? And like there's gonna be some people who just think you're great. The moment you walk in, they're like, because he just looks like my dad or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And other people just go like, dude, the guy that beat me up in school have the same accent, whatever. So, and also this ties back to like when I told you when I was a kid and I was like in love with like Judas Priest and all these bands and I had no idea what they looked like.
Yeah.
And the Sex Pistols, I thought they were like massive. And when I first saw the Sex Pistols many years later, I saw a picture of them. I was like, oh boy, is this it? I was like,
Yeah.
I was expecting something a little bit better.
Yeah.
So Love the Ghost. I was like, I don't want to put a face to my music because I think then it kind of limits it. And then then it just kind of it gives it a shape. I don't want to give it a shape. I just want people to just experience it like I experienced Judas Priest or Susan the Banshees or whatever. Just the music did something to me, and it didn't really matter what they looked like. But then when we talked last time, I was like, you know what? It just seems like it seems like I'm embarrassed or something, and that's just stupid. And it just seems disrespectful to Justin because he's talking to me and I can see his face, and it just doesn't seem polite.
I appreciate that.
I believe in that. I believe in that it's important. So this time I was like, you know what? Screw it. I mean, whatever. This is me. This is what Love the Ghost looks like in real life, and I hope it doesn't affect
Yeah,
either way, positive or negative. I hope that whoever listens to my music still listens to it and still gets the same feeling
definitely.
without knowing that there is an Italian guy behind
Yeah. No, that's great. No, and it's perfect because Love the Ghost is an amazing project. Thank you so much for sharing it with us, and thank you so much for being part of the podcast. Again, I encourage everybody check out Love the Ghost on Bandcamp. Do you got it on streaming? Like Amazon and Spotify? Do you have it on any of that? Or you just
Yes.
okay?
Yeah. It's because I'm on DistroKid,
Okay, cool.
so they put it everywhere. So yeah, it's in Spotify. It's all over the place. Amazon, everything that they do. And of course Bandcamp. Bandcamp is always the preferred
It's my
venue
favorite.
because
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I think it just what a blessing to have Bandcamp. For
I
for the
think so.
little musician
Yeah.
like me to be able to be published and protected. I think it's great.
And it's one of those things where it's like, they have that Bandcamp Friday where they go, no, we're just gonna go ahead, because of course they're a company, they got to have their little, you're putting it on there, they need a little bit of the cut, which I get, that's business. But when they got stuff like Bandcamp Friday, where it's like, here, we're gonna give you all this on this one day, we'll promote the hell out of it. Here you go, that type of. I think it's rewarding to be a musician and an artist like that. Have those moments where you don't feel like everybody's
Yeah.
taking your streams or anything. Like it's nerve-wracking, so I always prefer Bandcamp over anything. You got Instagram.
Yeah.
You got Facebook too?
Got Facebook as well. Got
Okay.
YouTube.
All right.
Got TikTok, and TikTok I'm actually having fun with. I never thought I would.
That's cool.
I ignored it because again I have to use it for work. So I mean I didn't want to use it for this stuff as well. But I'm actually having fun with it, and I'm meeting some fun people, and it's whatever. It's a new thing, and
That's cool.
me, and it's fun.
All right, well, everybody follow Andre on Love the Ghost on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, all that. Follow him. Andrea, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it, buddy.
Thank you, Justin. Thank you very much.
Yep.